Page 52, forming minor scales. Let's talk minor scales for a little bit. There are different kinds of minor scales. Okay. Just review. A scale, whatever, major, minor, whatever, is a set pattern of whole steps and half steps. A half step is two notes next to each other. There's no shorter interval than a half step. It's like from one note to the next on the piano. There's no note in between. It's a half step. Half step. So all of these are half steps apart. Okay. A whole step is simply two halves. So there's one note in between. So you have from here to here. That's a whole step because there's one note in between. Whole step, whole step. Now that's a half step. And that whole step's and half step. So there's a set pattern of those that makes up a scale. We use C major as the example because that scale only uses the white keys. So it's easy to see the pattern of whole steps and half steps. If I go from C to C, all the white keys, you can see where the whole steps and half steps are because there's a black key there. There's a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Whole, half, whole, half, whole, half, whole, half. That's the pattern for any major scale. Start on any key on the piano, white or black, doesn't matter. Follow that pattern, you are guaranteed to get a major scale. You might not know what it is, but it is a major scale. Well, a minor scale simply has a different pattern. And for that, we use A minor. A to A. Because again, it uses all the white keys. It's easy to see the pattern here. So we have start here. It's a whole step, half, whole, half, whole. So it's whole, half, half, whole. Whole, half, half, whole. Hey, whole, half. That's a pattern for any minor scale. Now there's different flavors of minor scales. So there's variations. So let's get into that mess. If I use the notes in the scale exactly as the key signature says, that is called natural minor. It is it. It's like A minor, all the white keys. This is an A minor scale, a natural minor. If I raise the seventh step, and 7 is 1 less than 8, okay, because that's 1, that's 8, just go down 1. If I raise that a half step, and use that note instead of the natural, so that's a little more interesting. That's called the harmonic minor, and that's the kind of scale you'll see most in music. And that's the scale I cover in the scale videos for minor scales. That's the one I found. If you just learn that one, you can adjust for any of the others very quickly. It's no problem. However, there is another scale, and that's called the melodic scale, melodic minor, and that is where you raise the 6th and 7th. So I already raised the 7th, now I raise the 6th and 7th. Going up, but when you go down, use the natural minor. So it depends on which direction you're going as to which notes you're going to use there. But again, if you just learn the harmonic minor, you'll be able to adjust for these others when you get into music. So when you get a piece in A minor, you're probably going to see a lot of G sharps in it. That's because they're using the harmonic minor. You might even see some F sharps because they may be using the melodic minor. I don't know. Don't worry about it. Just play what's written in the music. Now, for these pages on 52 and 53, you can get from major scale to minor scale. There is a correlation. And depending on how you do it is how you do it. Okay. We can do it with the relative minor, shown on page 52. The relative minor is the minor scale with the same key signature as the major scale. It's related by key signature. I did C major, I did A minor. They both have the same key signature, no sharps or flats. And that's the way I typically do it, because I can relate it. When you're practicing scales, I would encourage you, do it by key signature, do the relative. So when you do a C major, do A minor too. I know the sharps and flats of all the major scales. I just know them. I've known them for years, just over and over. I don't know them for the minor scales, don't even care to learn them, because I can very quickly figure it out. If I know what the major scale is, I can go down to the minor scale and figure it out. And what I do is I simply go down 3 notes in the scale. And the note I'm on is 1 now. So C, I go down 3. 1, 2, 3. That gives me the relative minor. That's why C major and A minor are relative. They're an interval of a third apart, a minor third. So it's 1, 2, 3. And I can very quickly go down 3 in my head and say, okay, that's the minor. And it has such and such a. Or if I see a piece in minor, I can see the sharps and flats. And so from the sharps and flats, I know what the major is. And I just count down real quick, and then I know what the minor is too. It got me through music theory in college. It worked great. Didn't bother memorizing all that stuff, just some of it. So the relative minor is related by key signature. All right. We have G major. Well, it's 1 sharp, so the minor with 1 sharp, you go down 3 in the key. 1, 2, 3. See, G major has an F sharp in it, so you got to use that. 1, 2, 3. So E minor is the related minor. It has 1 sharp. So F major, again, I just go down 3. F major is 1 flat. So I go down 3 in the scale. 1, 2, 3. So it's D. So the F major, the related minor, would be D minor. Do B flat major. It's got 2 flats. A B and an E flat. Okay, we'll go down 3. 1, 2, 3. G minor. G minor has 2 flats. It's the related minor to B flat major. They're related by key signature, and that's how you can figure them out. Now, the books, a lot of books will tell you to count up 6 to find the relative. So I'm in C major, I go up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that will give me the relative minor. Count up 6, you get the relative minor. I just find it easier to count down 3 than to go up 6. That's why I say I go down 3. You get the same place, I just don't have to count so much. Now on page 53, they have the other one, and that's known as the parallel minor. The parallel minor, simply put, starts on the same note as the major, but it has a different key signature. So C major, but C minor has 3 flats. How do I know C minor has 3 flats? Well, remember that the major and minor scales are a minor third apart, or you can say it's 3 half steps. If you count the half steps, you're good to go no matter what. So it's 1, 2, 3. I count down 3 half steps, and that'll get me there. It doesn't matter what black or white keys are involved. I can count down 3 half steps, and I'll get there. If I'm on this note, and I want to know what the relative minor is, I go down 3 half steps. So it's a half step, half step, half step. So it's 1, 2, 3. So it's E. So if it's an F sharp major, this is a D sharp minor. If I'm using G flat major, then that would be an E flat minor. That's the relative minor. Okay, well, parallel, I just go up 3 half steps. So here I go 1, 2, 3. 1 half step, 1 half step, 1 half step. A half step, another half step, and a third half step. They're here. So it's an E flat. Well, how many flats does E flat major have? It has 3. I know it has because I've memorized those. So now I know the key signature for C minor. It's 3 flats. So C major has no sharps or flats, but C minor has 3. That's how I do it, but you can do it any way you want. You just have to keep in mind that in parallel, you're starting on the same note, but the key signature is different. In relative, you're starting on a different note, but it's the same key signature, and I find that easier, so that's the way I do it. You do it however you want. I don't care. Just do it the way your teacher tells you to. But that's basically how minors work. So you need to be doing the major and minor scales and the arpeggios, really, for the pieces, for the keys that you're working on.